Aston Villa 0, Manchester United 0. It's took me a long time to get to this point, but I think I'm finally Erik Ten Hag out. I just can't see a way back from this. And I'm going to talk about the game for a couple of minutes, then I'm going to talk about why I think Erik Ten Hag needs to go. I'm not buying this improved performance thing. I don't think we're any better. Yeah, granted, just because we haven't been smashed 3-0, people are getting a hard on. Oh, this is amazing. Kept another clean sheet. Kept Villa out. Villa are a better team than us. We were terrible. Absolutely terrible. We offered nothing from an attacking point of view. Bruno hit the bar, Rashford hit one from long range. Apart from that, we did nothing. We barely strung 5 passes together. We created no proper chances. We did nothing inside their box. We defended really, really well. Credit to Johnny Evans, he was immense. But that's the problem, isn't it? When a free transfer from relegated Leicester at 36 was your best player, how can you tell me you've played well? What have the other 10 players done? We haven't played well at all. We've defended really well. Maguire did well as well. And to be fair, the defenders who come on, Lindelof, I thought he did well. We defended really well, but we didn't play well. We created nothing. So boring to watch. And Villa, although they're a good team, they offered very little. Villa didn't play well. We couldn't have played them at a better time. They were mentally and physically drained from the Bayern game. Great result for them beating Bayern, but Bayern absolutely smashed them, by the way. That was a freak one-off result. Bayern have drawn today with Frankfurt as well, so they're not in great form. Here's a shout for you. Kompany won't last the season. He's a terrible manager. Despite the fact that Villa were mentally and physically drained from the Bayern game, they were probably still the better team. They had more possession, more shots. They definitely had the best chance of the game at the end with Prelier. So I'm not buying that it was an improved result. I don't think there's anything to build on. It was terrible. Also, the Rashford thing is crazy. Why bring Rashford off against Porto? He was probably having the best game he's had in 18 months. You've brought him off at half-time. I presumed he was injured. He obviously wasn't injured because he played today. And, oh, well, we just rotated him. Rotated him? Why? He's having the best game of his life. Leave him on the pitch. What are you gaining from doing that? He's not in the England squad, so he's going to get 2 weeks rest now anyway. So you've rested him for 45 minutes in a game we probably would have won if you'd have kept him on, and then we ended up drawing. And then you've played him today, and he's done nothing. I don't get that decision. I do not get that decision. Now, why am I Erik Ten Hag out? I'll tell you why I'm Erik Ten Hag out. A lot of people have messaged me saying, I'm getting a bit of backlash already, saying, oh, you've been too harsh, you've been too pessimistic. Villa are a good team, Villa are a better team than us, it's a decent point. This is exactly my point. Villa are a better team than us. Why are Aston Villa a better team than us? Since when have Villa been a better team than Manchester United? Well, they are now. Their manager has been in charge for less time, he's spent less money, and he's had to sell 2 of his best players, but they're a better team than us. That is why. That tells you all you need to know. I mean, we had a terrible start the first season. We had our worst ever start last season, and somehow, even though we've got no real excuses, he's got about 14 players that he's signed, and we've got no real injuries, we've made a worse start than last year, the worst ever Premier League start. We're a point worse off than last year, and think of how bad we were last year. Now, if we were chilling in 5th or 6th, I'd still be angry, but I'd be a bit like, nah, it's only 5th or 6th, we can get that back. We're fucking 14th. 14th. Now, if you're 14th after a couple of games because you've had bad fixtures or you've had a bit of a hangover from pre-season, yeah, we're 7 games in. You cannot be 14th after 7 games. And we're not in a false position. We're exactly where we deserve to be. We probably deserve to be a bit lower, to be fair. We're 14th because we're not very good. Now, if we weren't getting results because we were getting screwed by VAR or getting screwed by refs or the opposition goalkeepers was having worldies week in, week out, you could kind of be like, oh God, it's just bad luck, it'll come together. Henderson had a bit of a worldie when we played Palace, but apart from that, we're just not causing goalkeepers or teams problems. And we're 14th because we deserve to be 14th. We're getting bad results because we're a bad team. When other teams have bad results, like Liverpool, like Arsenal, like City, it's not because they've played bad, it's because the opposition goalkeeper's had a worldie, or the defenders has had a worldie, or one of their players has made a mistake. They've always battered teams, they just end up getting bad results. We get battered. That is why we have bad results. We get bad results because we're not very good. We literally don't score goals. I cannot remember the last time I saw a Premier League goal scored by a United player. You'll have to remind me. 3 games now without a goal. I can't remember the last goal we scored. I want to say it's against Southampton, but I can't even remember who scored it. And the first season we struggled, we scored 58 goals. The second season we struggled, we scored 57 goals. And this season we've already scored 5 goals in 7 games. So we're even worse off this year. We can't score goals and it's actually declining. There's this constant cycle that we see with Erik Ten Hag every single season. We start pre-season, we sign a load of players, the players he wants to play the Ajax way. Most of them are ex-Ajax players. tries to play it in the Premier League. We get smashed week in, week out. So then he drops them players, brings the old original players that have been at the club ages back in. We start to play this Tony Pulis negative Stoke defensive, boring, safe football, which gets a few results to buy him a bit of time. It's just an endless cycle. We did it in the first season, we did it in the second season, and we're doing it again now. And what is the point? Now, if we're going to play this boring, shocking, defensive, negative, safe kind of football, we might as well go out and get a manager who's a specialist at it. We might as well get Jose back. We might as well go out and get Diego Simeone. At least they're specialists at it. This is just a bodge job. And where is the longevity in this? Where's the longevity in Evans and Maguire at centre-half, in Eriksen in midfield? There is none, is there? You can't just, every time that your plan doesn't work, resort to this horrible way of football just to grab a few results. Because let's just say we get a few results now. Then what? Do we go back to playing how we were playing and get spanked every week? Or do we carry the negative football on to try and get a few more results? It's not sustainable. And even if it is, it's boring. And all the excuses last year, injuries, we haven't got the centre-halves we want, we can't play the way we want. Lisandro Martinez is out. As soon as Lisandro Martinez is back, as soon as we get another centre-half who can ball play, well, we've got all them, and they've been dropped. He's dropped Martinez. He's dropped Delay because it's not working. He's had some terrible signings as well. Terrible signings. I mean, what signing has he made that has actually made a huge impact? You know, when you see Cole Palmer at Chelsea, the impact he's made, and then the impact that Bruno and Isak and Trippier made at Newcastle, or when Liverpool first started with Salah, Mane, Van Dijk, Alisson, the impacts they had, or Gabriel, Saliba and Odegaard and Rice at Arsenal. What players has Ten Hag signed that has made a massive impact? None. He's spent more than any other manager. He's signed more players than any other manager. Not one of them has made an impact. Casemiro and Martinez looked okay in the first season, but now he's dropping them. He won't even play them. Mount and Malacia have been absolute disasters. Two of the worst signings in Premier League history. And then you look today, he's benched 7 of his signings. He's got £305 million worth of his own signings on the bench. Anthony Xerxes, Ugarte, Casemiro, Martinez, De Ligt and Bayindir. Fair enough, Bayindir's a reserve keeper, but it's still his signing. At the midfield as well. We've always struggled in midfield. He signed Amrabat, he wouldn't play him. He's now signed Ugarte, he won't play him. We signed the other dude as well, Sabitzer, and he refused to play him. What is all that about? I mean, do you trust him to sign any more players? With the signings he's made, Anthony, Mount, all them, and even Onana, who is in the team, is he an upgrade on De Gea? He's no better than De Gea. I mean, De Gea needed replacing, but Onana's no better. Do you trust him to spend any more money, make any more signings? I don't think I do, and I don't think Ineos would. And I know there's problems at the club. I know there's egos in the team. I know there's players there who have been there 7 or 8 years who probably need to be moved on. I know the players are questionable. The players probably aren't as good as we think. I mean, as United fans, we have this problem of blowing up players. I mean, Garnacho scores an overhead kick against Everton, and all of a sudden he's Messi. You know, Martinez puts a few good performances in, and all of a sudden he's Sergio Ramos. Menu, who I love, puts a few good performances in, and we think is Iniesta. They're just probably not as good as what we actually think they are. But I refuse to believe that changing a manager won't help us. When you look at what Emery's done at Villa, when you look at what Klopp did at Liverpool, you know, they could have stuck with Brendan Rodgers. They didn't. Villa could have stuck with Steven Gerrard. Newcastle could have stuck with Steve Bruce, but they didn't. You can't tell me a change of manager wouldn't. You can't seriously tell me there's not a manager out there who would get us scoring goals. You can't seriously tell me that there's not a manager out there who could get Rashford scoring goals, who could get Bruno scoring goals, Garnacho scoring goals, Xerxes scoring goals, Højlund scoring goals. You can't tell me there's not a manager out there that could get us winning games, that could get us playing better football. There must be. Honestly, there just must be. Like, we can't just carry this on in the hope it changes. There's no evidence to suggest it's going to change. The first season, we got spanked by Brentford and Brighton in the first couple of games. What's changed from that? What has changed from that? Nothing. I mean, he'll be able to get a few results. We might even win a Carling Cup or the Europa League. But United's whole history is league. We've won the most leagues in English football history. The most Premier Leagues. It's the league position for United. He's winning league titles. His league record at United is abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. Now, if it was the first season and we were 14th, you could kind of be like, it's the first season, it's a rebuild. Even the second season, you could be like, well, we're in the third season. We are in the third season. It's the worst ever Premier League start. We've just gone 3 games without a goal. We've got 8 points out of 7 games, 5 goals in 7 games. It's the worst, literally the worst Premier League start ever. And we're the third season in. I mean, West Ham fans want their manager sacked, and they're above us. You know, no big club in the world, Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, none of them would put up with this. If any of them teams were 14th after 7 games, it wouldn't even be questionable. They'd be gone, and it wouldn't matter who the manager. If Man City were 14th after 7 games, you better believe they'd be thinking about sacking Pep. If Arsenal were 14th after 7 games, you better believe they'd be looking at sacking him. Spurs, even you look at Everton, Brighton, Villa, Newcastle, Palace, Spurs, they would all be considering sacking their managers if they were down in 14th and playing football like this. I could be wrong. I could be miles off. Let me know your thoughts. What do you think? Give it a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe. I don't see how he survives this. I don't see how he